ऑल राइट। एक मिनट भाई।
आवाज नहीं रुक रही। हाँ
हेलो हेलो।
हाँ हाँ,
आवाज आ रहा है क्या?
आ रही है, आ रही है।
गुड गुड। Hello everyone who has joined in. Just give us a bit of time because we are still publishing uh, the links on social media and on all the different communities.
हम्म।
We had to prepone this stream mainly because somebody has got latent and and then they have just decided to release it at 9. So
हमें भी
or
जाना
at
चाहिए।
9:30, at 9:30. So
या
we're like
9:30।
bye. Even we want to watch it and we cannot definitely compete with some arena at all,
या
especially
डेफिनेटली।
with latent. So anyway, welcome everyone who has joined in. We have with us Manav, and he has 9 years of experience and he has worked with some of the most well-known companies. Especially if anyone is into trading or investment, they would have heard about Scriptbox, they would have heard about Tickertape. So Manav is the designer behind all of these products. And yeah, thanks for taking the time out, Manav.
थैंक यू फॉर एक्सेप्टिंग माय इनवाइट डूड।
Yeah, we had a lot planned, but then
या
we decided to rather do a live session and interact with people. So
या डेफिनेटली या।
all right. Could you also tell a bit about your UX journey and your YouTube channel, especially because I want people to know it from you? How did you start this YouTube channel and the journey of YouTube, and how you have also decided to become full-time content creator for the time being?
या
Yeah.
ओह, a lot of questions। ठीक है, I'll address it one by one।
Exactly. Yeah.
I did, background wise, I'm from engineering. Is it okay if I speak in Hindi as well, right?
I think
Fine.
let's ask the audience. Let's
Yeah,
see if
guys.
what they are saying. Yeah. Let me bring
Guys.
the chat live actually for Manav to also
I
see
mean,
on
I
the
can see
screen
on
as well.
YouTube, so
Acha, you're seeing it on YouTube and that
it's
is okay for you.
delayed. It's delayed, huh? I guess.
Okay. It is not that much delayed, but yeah, that is fine.
हाँ, 4-5 सेकंड का I think there's a difference. But
Okay. Yeah.
guys,
That should
English, Hindi, what's the majority here?
yeah. Please let us know if you're not comfortable with Hindi,
Hmm.
then we would try to keep it in English. Otherwise, we'll be just choosing whatever is comfortable.
Because I am planning to make all of my content in Hindi. Planning क्या मतलब, I have made all my content in Hindi now. Uh,
Okay.
okay. ठीक है, let's keep it English. I think it's mostly
Yeah.
acceptable everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So the year was 2012 when I decided. So year was 2011 actually, when I decided that I want to be a front end engineer, because I was good at doing HTML in my 10th standard. This is 2010 we're talking about, right? Uh, I took science, did engineering, could not make it to AIEEE, DTU, any of those good college. So took like a tier 2, tier 3 college to be a front end engineer. Learned front end, and in third year we had to give a project. Usually in engineering, if people are here who has not done engineering for any reason, in your final year of engineering, everyone has to give a project to the university. That's like our final thing, right? So one of our mentor told us to work on it on in third year, because fourth year has a lot of thing going on. You have to do internships, you have exams, you have practicals, a lot of things. So me and my friend decided to join to create something which I had a problem with at that point of time. So I'm a big music buff. Everyone in the college liked my selection of music, and they would ask me memory cards, right? And I had a very big memory card. Like I had a 256 GB memory card. This is 2010. So people who don't know, who are not from that era, 256 GB memory card in 2010 is like 10 terabyte, 5 terabyte hard drive, right? You have,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So they would ask me my memory card, and every time I give my memory card to those idiots, they would infect my memory card with virus.
Okay.
So I, at that point of time in my third year of college, we were reading ports. Uh,
Hmm.
so people who don't know about ports, basically it's a layer in which two computers can interact on a network. over internet, right? So I was like, ki, I have a hard drive at home. My computer is always running. I will put all my music on my hard drive. I'll give them a link. They can download all the music and they can listen to it also. Retrospectively, now I know we call it music streaming. But in
Mm.
20, something like this was existent, like Ghana and Savan, which is now Geo Savan, were the
Mm.
only two products that were starting to build,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I did not know they existed. So this was a
Mm.
problem which I wanted to solve with my project. I took front end, my friend took back end.
Mm.
We did a proof of concept. Everyone in our faculty was amazed to see it working. Uh, but my our mentor said everything tech is good. Focus on the design of this. Right, design is
Nice.
terrible. So that was my first intent. Where because my friend said, "Dude, you are responsible for front end. You figure out how to do this." So I searched how to design a website in 2015. That was my introduction to design. Uh, and when I was looking for internships in my third year, on Internshala, when it actually worked, uh, I saw a lot of job postings when I searched for front end engineer. I saw a lot of job postings called UI UX designer, and very at the very last point, it was said that if you know how to do HTML CSS, it's a plus point. I knew how to do HTML CSS. I did not know how to design. Uh, I have learned some fundamentals. So I was like, okay, hey, if I can code and design, I would be a good asset to the to any company. So I started learning about what is UX design, and that was my introduction to UX design. Before that, I knew what is web design from a simply from a point of view of how do you manage typography, composition, all those things. Right?
Yeah.
So that was my introduction. My first job was in at a startup where for the first year I did both front end engineering and design. And by
Got it.
design, I mean everything design, digital, physical, print,
Mm.
everything.
Nice.
Uh, and then I shifted to exclusively designing because they hired a better front end engineer than me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so that was that. This is from 2015 to 2017. I worked at that startup. We were working at something that everyone adopted in last 2 years, which is
What was your title back then? Was it a full stack designer or
no, no, no. It
some kind
was
of fancy
so
title?
UI UX. They hired me as a UI UX designer,
Huh.
right? Uh, and I was a UI UX designer.
Okay.
So
Nice.
no,
But
no,
then
that
you were
was
also doing like pretty much everything, right? Like, be it your graphic design stuff, physical
yeah,
design stuff,
yeah, yeah,
even to some extent development.
yeah. To some extent, I was doing development
Acha,
also.
that was like your part of the JD.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was a part of my job.
Lovely.
Because they
Yeah.
didn't have a front end guy. We were
Hmm.
developing mobile app and a web app. So they had a back end guy. They had an Android engineer. They did not have a front end guy because they were like, "Ki, I was excited to do it." Uh, but then when things got complicated, when web servers and all they started coming in, I was like, "Dude, this is too complex for me." Then they hired some front end guy, and I pivoted to design permanently.
Got it. Nice. And then you basically moved on to like pure design jobs, right?
Pure
You
designing. Then I
were
was doing everything design, just design. So
right.
physical, digital, everything that needed to be designed, I was
Yeah.
doing that. So I've
And
designed
then your
business
journey
cards.
has been like you have been at Scriptbox and you have been at Tickertape. And
Yeah,
then recently you were also, I forgot the name of the company.
algo
Sorry for
test.
my research.
Yeah, yeah,
But
algo test.
Algo, yeah. Is it also into the same similar domain of fintech and uh, like investment?
So algo test is very different from Scriptbox and Ticker Tape.
I see.
Yeah, uh, algo test is a trading platform, right?
Hmm.
So sorry, not a trading platform. It's a suite of softwares for retail traders in India,
I see.
right?
Okay.
So
So
if you
still
are,
it was around the domain of trading, right? I think and your
I
entire
mean, yeah, you
experience.
can say it's loosely related to fintech, right?
Okay.
But trading and investment, according to me, are completely two different uh,
Hmm.
thing in their own,
Yeah.
right? There is no how would you say, there is no
Overlap.
common point, commonality between them. So let's
Hmm.
say there are two Venn diagrams, they don't intersect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Interesting. Then how did you decide to become UX and more from Manav?
Yeah. So the year was, I would say, 2017, right? I have recently joined Book My Show, so I moved from Delhi to Hyderabad. Uh, and initially, when you join a company, you don't have a lot of work, right?
Hmm.
So that was my time. I was still getting onboarded, understanding. Book My Show was also going through a rebrand. Uh, they were doing a lot of research. They were redoing their website. So there was a lot of things going on, and I have some free time with me. Uh, and I used to follow Chris Do very closely at that point of time. Like I was the one who was first in his live streams. So
Hmm.
back then in 2017, Chris Do used to do his open his Zoom calls. So if first 100 people only could join, and I made sure I was in that 100 group of people, because after the stream ended, he would spend 30-40 minutes answering individual people's question,
Yeah.
right? So I heavily used to follow him, and he always used to promote that you create content while you learn, because that helps you learn better and that helps you build your credibility and brand. So I got inspired by him, motivated by him, and I created some uh, carousels for Facebook.
Got it.
Then when Facebook was used, right?
Hmm.
And unme se from that, two of my carousels got, I call them viral, but from a standards of virality, they are not viral. So you can say 3,000, 5,000 views, right?
Hmm.
At that point of time, I was like, okay, it's okay. But then a couple of months back, I kind of there was this eureka moment that, hey, there was something that I
Hmm.
wanted to tell people, and many people found it valuable. Maybe I should do more of it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and again, Christo then recommended a book called "Don't Call It That." So
Hmm.
it's essentially a workbook that helps you put a framework on how do you name a product or a
I
business,
see. I see.
right? So I use that to come up with a name called UX and more, right? Because I wanted then to build something that goes beyond me,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And I didn't want to stick things to UX, because I knew that UX, or even if I took design as a target audience, it would still be very limited. If I have to go beyond, right, and evangelize design to people who are not designers, I would have to do it in a way that is different from just traditionally talking about design.
Yeah.
So that is why UX and more, because anything I do, like if I tomorrow start making vlogs, that's UX and more.
More. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. I used to also. I was also thinking to expand into such content line, and
Mhm.
I wanted to call it X of UX.
X of UX.
X
Right.
of
Nice.
UX, which
Interesting. Yeah.
is like you pick up anything and then there is a
Mhm.
user experience behind it, right?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Everything is a product or a service and there
Mhm.
is a user experience behind it. It is
Yeah.
definitely serving somebody or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it is pure art, it is still solving for the audience, right? So
Correct. Correct.
so I was just thinking in that direction that one day there will be that time when
Mhm.
I feel like this niche may whatever content I want to create, let's say I have saturated that part, or
Yeah.
I've got bored of creating only you know just a second, I'm getting some notification. Yeah, anyway, let's
Mhm.
say if I get bored of just creating UX content, someday I would like to also experiment with some other domain of that content, or at least integrate UX into other things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have similar plans, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think you were the OG of naming UX and more. So
Dude, it's just a
nice.
name, man. There is nothing in a name. I mean, tomorrow you can come name something. At
Yeah,
the end, perception matters, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. But all right, we have a lot of people now.
Mhm.
Now what we can do is we can touch the topic that we decided to touch. Actually, some 1 year back we had
Mhm.
contacted to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Yeah.
create this content,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I was not there on YouTube back then when you had contacted me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. You were exclusively on Instagram, I guess.
exclusive to Instagram doing
Yeah.
carousels back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then yeah, so now we are here. Let's address this topic, which actually you basically came up with the title
Yeah.
and the concept of it. And uh, the idea is to discuss whether, just a second, I don't think if, I'm not sure if the live is,
No, it's going on. I'm watching.
it's going on, no? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's monitoring. Yeah.
All right, because there are a few discrepancy between the system that I'm using versus what the live output is.
Ah,
So
there's a second 7 second delay, 7 8 second delay.
no, no, it's not just delay. Even the title that I'm seeing here of the live here is actually different from what is streaming. But anyway, I think
Ah,
what is streaming is fine.
yeah.
Okay, so the topic is the market bad, or are people who are getting into the market are bad? Right. So why don't you take the first stab at it? What do you think, Manav?
There is only one obvious answer, man.
What is the obvious answer?
uh,
Can't you roast the Gen Zs?
no, it's not about Gen Zs, man. I mean, see, I mean, Humby, I was also a kind of, what do you say, Gen Z at point of time in my career, right? So I think it's a common thing. Uh, the so the idea came into my mind from some personal experiences, which is when I uh, stopped working for Algotest, uh, and we mutually kind of separated our ways. Uh, I applied at a lot of companies, right? I got selected, uh, but did not make through. I did was not able to make through part the first round, which is your portfolio screening round, right? And this happens usually because when you stopped giving interviews, right? The landscape is changing continuously. You get out of
Yeah.
touch, right? Uh, and obviously, the first few interviews you do are always duds. Like it's very rare chance that you're gonna make through, right? So that made me kind of question myself that I've been doing this for 9 years, and there is a concept called what do you call, known bias or something like that. That like you are mature enough that you don't look at in the periphery of your vision, right? I am
Mm.
forgetting the name, right? Informed bias, I guess, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
You know? So I thought maybe I'm in that zone, right? And let me reevaluate what the market conditions are, and what they expect from someone who is of my experience. What do they expect, right? And I asked myself, like, am I a bad designer, or is the market actually bad? Because
Mm.
I was seeing job openings, right?
Yeah.
So that means people were hiring. Like there is a demand, definitely, and it's
Yeah.
not that they were across roles, right?
Yeah.
So that was the question when I was like, okay, I'm making a content. Let's address this thing, right?
Right.
So that was the idea. Then I evaluated a couple of things, like what's going wrong, what's happening, and then 5 6 things come to my mind. One is obviously external factors which you can't control, which is recessions, tech layoffs are still going on.
Mm.
We don't hear a lot about them. They're not sensational, but they're still happening quietly. So there's a huge supply, and then there are people who want to get into the market. So there are people who are experienced, there are people who are new. A company would obviously prefer a new person, sorry, an
Experienced one. Yeah.
experienced person, but at a cheaper cost,
Yeah.
which is also happening because the salaries have gone down, right?
Yeah.
So these are external factors. Then there are internal factors, like actually, is your work good enough,
Yeah.
right, to your standards also. That I don't think many people honestly have this conversation with them, that am I actually doing good work? Like
Mm.
forget what other people are doing. Are you at your best satisfied with the work that you are doing? Is this the best quality of work that you can produce?
Mm.
So that's the thing. I think the stream is over. Let's disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to like break it down into multiple other things as well,
Sure.
because um, I have seen people say that, like I said, Gen Z, right? Like Gen Z, and people usually say Gen Zs are lazy and so on. I feel we can't really put it on a one generation,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely
Uh,
not.
I feel like every generation have hardworking people, every generation has lazy people. So we can say, okay, the lazy section of society
Mhm.
are also there,
Yeah.
which is fine. I think
Yeah.
that always exists, which is fine. But one thing definitely has happened, which is lot of people have this interest to become UX designer as well.
Mhm.
Maybe like during our time, which was when we got into the market in 2016, there
Mhm.
was not so much of advertisement about UX, right? We had to discover it.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people are getting bombarded by the fact that okay, UX design is a creative career that pays well,
Yeah.
right? And this second half of the statement, that pays well, is changing every year, right? So
Yeah.
because your starting salary, somebody said it was 10 lakh, then somebody suddenly said 8 lakh, somebody said
Mhm.
6 lakh,
Yeah.
and people start imagining that okay, this is a creative job, I will get to do a lot of creative things, as if
Yeah.
like you have so much creative freedom. But the truth is, the market keeps changing and keep correcting, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when all of this cohorts happened and all of this knowledge became very easy to find, so a lot of people who would have maybe gone into data analytics or gone into front end development or
Mhm.
gone into something else
Mhm.
would have converted, because okay, if in 60,000 rupees I can become a UX designer in
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
months
Yeah. Yeah.
and earn 50,000 rupees per month, then
Mhm.
sounds like the best deal in the
Easy
world,
job.
right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
easy. Yeah.
like it's very straightforward for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel that's where a lot of supply was created, apart
Mhm.
from the tech layoff and all of these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely that has happened. And one thing is, obviously we don't have enough money in the industry right now.
Right now. Yeah.
2021, like it was pouring in, right? Like even if you didn't want to raise investment, people would be like, "Tu
हाँ,
paisa
ले
le,
लो.
equity de,"
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just give me equity
Yeah.
and take this million and become a unicorn, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where a lot of companies were hiring. And when that kind of money also comes in,
Mhm.
where do you reinvest that money, right? It has to be in expanding your product, right?
Yeah.
For example, very live example is Zepto, right? This particular market of Zepto, Blinkit is booming,
Yeah.
and anybody who is in that domain right now is just hiring like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we have seen that happen in e-commerce at one point of time,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
in Byju's, Unacademy at one point of time,
Mhm. Yeah.
fintech. I think it's still happening, but I think
It
2021
has
and
changed
so on.
now. It has moved from investment to lending.
Oh yeah, yeah. BNPL.
Yeah.
A lot of
BNPL.
BNPL is happening there.
Lending, any kind of loan dispensement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, uh, s- that has happened, which is the number of opening that used to be there in 2021
Mhm.
has changed. What has
Yeah.
not changed for a lot of people is the anchoring of 2021.
Yeah.
They know that 2021 mein my senior
Mhm.
got this much package
Yeah.
by doing this cohort for 3 months.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
the truth is, 2021 anchoring, you have to leave that behind, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody is getting that 50%, 100% hike anymore. Nobody is getting that kind of money anymore.
Yeah.
The openings are not there. uh, at least that much opening is not there at it
Mhm.
used to be in
Mhm.
2021.
Mhm.
So I think one thing that people need to do is get rid of that anchoring. If you know a certain senior who
Yeah.
got the job in 3 months, then forget about that. That
Yeah.
like should be stopped.
Right.
I think
Right.
that is one thing. You mentioned about uh, holding your standard to yourself first, right?
Mhm.
I feel there also, if I look back at my first portfolio, right,
Mhm.
it was like full of shit. Like if I cannot look at it right now, it is so bad, right? And I can never score a job with that kind of portfolio
Right.
today
Correct.
in today's market.
Correct.
So
Correct.
definitely the barrier to entry into industry has basically increased.
Mhm.
Barrier to entry into learning UX has decreased, but getting into industry has increased, which means you have to be like 3x better than what we used to be as starting designers, right? Or I don't know, maybe 10x also, I don't know.
Uh,
So that has definitely happened. And I also agree. I mean, the conclusion is yes, the market is bad.
uh,
And it's not just that the new designers are bad, although they have they have like grown in a certain environment which was not ours. Like they have their own problem. We had the problem of scarcity,
hmm.
they have the problem of abundance. we were like, where can I search for good content?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're like, which one of this content
is good.
deserves my attention?
Yeah,
Right. So that is definitely there. Also, I mean, of course, the market for us was different, for them is different. So
yeah, man. I would say कि यहाँ पे भी I would still say designers are getting lazy, right? Because when you are looking for a job, right, you should do the research of not your next 2 years, but your next 10 years.
hmm,
That's the research I think one should do. At least, अच्छा ठीक है, not 10 years, at least 5 years. Next 5 years, so you should at least look around, right?
yeah,
Uh, that's not happening. Uh, Job descriptions are still the same. They used to be same then, back then when I started. They are same now. There is no
yeah,
difference. They are still copy pasting. Uh, so that is still going on with
yeah.
people.
And I also feel there is this designer market fit that I
Hmm.
feel I should make a content on someday, which is like, for example, you have been in fintech, right? So
Hmm.
when you apply for a fintech job, there is some advantage when, like, your profile versus other profile, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you have been always doing, let's say, like for my profile, I have always been doing mobile designs, consumer facing product, right? If
Hmm.
I apply for a SaaS product and have
Yeah.
seen that I have had a disadvantage when I'm applying for purely SaaS B2B products,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because my
yeah. Industry
portfolio
and
does not reflect.
experience matters.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
because my portfolio does not reflect that kind of work and
Hmm.
the kind of conversation one would expect out of a senior designer, who is, who is going to be a part of B2B SaaS, right?
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
portfolio does not reflect that, and I also do not have that experience. So I get that disadvantage,
Yeah.
right? Which I feel a lot of people do not understand why they get rejected,
Yeah.
right? There are places where you stand a better chance versus there are places where you don't stand a good chance,
Ha.
right? You
Right.
can only try to, do a better job of applying, which is, try referral, make sure your portfolio is good, make sure your
Hmm.
resume is
Hmm.
top notch, and
Hmm.
make sure your communication is good, and blah blah blah, right? All
Yeah.
the things are there. But then inherently you cannot really change your past, which is
Yeah.
what is your context, right? I am a fintech designer, focused on consumer products, right? I cannot change my past. I can only look for opportunities which is aligning with me.
Me.
And I
Yeah.
feel a lot of people also miss that part out. As a beginner, it's a different thing. You are a
It's a
clean
different thing. Yeah.
slate. Yeah, that is a different thing. But at least once you have a bit of experience and you're trying to, do a switch,
Hmm.
you should definitely look at who you are, like what are your unfair advantages over others,
Yeah.
and try to leverage that.
Yeah. Definitely. And in beginning, it's difficult. You definitely need to have some experience.
Yeah,
I see three interesting comments. Let's address those.
yeah. let
Uh,
me let me pin them here so that everyone can see that
First
here
is
as
by Gayatri, which is how to overcome these external factors that we talked about to be able to make it through and crack interviews. Also, UX design as experience increases, the number of openings get lesser and tougher.
well.
I mean, I don't know. I would disagree to the second statement. Uh, I would say, see, external factors are first of all very difficult to identify, right? So I would say external factors are something that we can't control and you can't overcome also.
Yeah,
Like if people are not hiring, that's an external factor. Like how do you overcome that?
yeah,
If you really want to do the work you want to do, right? Second is in as you increase, the openings get lesser. I would say when you increase, as in when you become a senior person, if you haven't got to the maturity that is expected from you, that's not a I would say uh, excuse to say that opportunities are lesser,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, I see people around me who are much more mature than me in terms of expectations, and they are getting promoted to the role which I might apply to,
yeah.
but they are very few, right?
Hmm.
And then there are people who are more mature, like more than in terms of number of experience than me, and they are still not able to make through. Again, these are the two what do you say, two extremes, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you grow in experience and when you have subject matter expertise, I think you are at a much more advantageous place. uh, I can like I'll give you an example. I would name the companies. uh, there were one of the companies where they were looking for a this one company, they are looking for a head of design, right, for that company, and they are not able to fill that role for last 1.5 year,
Hmm.
right? And just take a guess how many candidates they thought are eligible for this role. Just take a wild guess. So it's a fairly well company, right?
Hmm.
It's a fairly well company. It's a popular company, so the marketing and all is not a problem,
I
right?
see.
Their team is good, right? They're talented people there working there. They're looking for a head of design, but they're not able to find a head of design for the last 1.5 year. Right?
Interesting.
In 1.5 year, how many candidates do you think were eligible for an even an exploratory conversation?
Hmm. Is it at least every month? I can say like two. So if you say one and a half, maybe 30, right? Or
30,
if not, then 20, 25, 30, right?
12 people.
12 people. I
12
see.
people.
Hmm.
Ab, you understand the competition is just 12 people. You have to outbeat 12 people,
Yeah.
right? So when you grow in seniority, your competition is much
Yeah.
lesser,
Yeah.
right? As you begin, the competition is much higher,
That is true.
right?
Especially like at entry level jobs, I feel that's like the entire thing is like a pyramid, right? Entry level pay, that's where the maximum number of people are waiting at the door.
Yeah.
And as you move up, yes, the number of openings are going to be lesser, but
Hmm.
then with that also the competition is going to be lesser.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like in general, if you look at a structure, you would have one head of design under which there would be two leads, under them maybe two seniors, and then
Mhm.
with them five juniors,
Yeah.
or maybe three juniors or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at that kind of a structure, then you would realize that for a company, when there are 200,000 people applying for seven openings,
Yeah.
there are 5,000 people who are applying for those senior position, like
Senior
those
positions. Yeah.
three four positions. So
Yeah.
the ratio is still better as you move up, but
Yeah.
then again, the ratio is one thing. Like I said in the previous answer also, what is important is also what you're leveraging, right? If I apply at SAS, it's not going to be my advantage, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is also there. So
Yeah.
it's a lot about whether I stand a good chance there or not, right? So that is there. And talking about external factors, like you said, we obviously those are external factors because we can't control shit about it. Only thing we can control is our expectation of applying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know that the market is bad, if everybody is saying that the market is bad and it is
Yeah.
taking time and the salaries have gone down, then you
Yeah.
should set that expectation, right? That's the only thing that you can say. You
I
can't.
would.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amala, I'm cutting you. I would add just one thing. You will see people consuming content saying ki test with 5 users, you will get 80% of the feedback. You give
Yeah.
5 interviews, you don't get selected, you don't apply it to yourself saying ki, oh, I've given to 5 interviews. What is wrong with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like this is like basic stuff, right? You read it every day. And that this is
Yeah.
what I called informed bias, right?
Yeah.
Right. You apply the principles you learn to yourself,
Exactly.
right? And you will learn. Like I told you,
Yeah.
right? I gave multiple interviews initially. In like 5 6 interviews, I was able to figure out what's wrong with me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think that's what I think. I don't know if I put the content out or not, but
Mhm.
one thing that I had shot was called Mr. Beastification of UX,
Okay,
right?
what's that?
So basically, Mr. Beast, the number one YouTuber, he says one way to crack YouTube is you keep on creating content, but every time you create a new content, you try to
Mhm.
improve something,
Yeah,
right? Which is exactly what I feel you should be doing while applying for jobs, which
jobs
is
there.
you
Yeah.
apply for a lot of jobs
Mhm.
and maybe don't start with your dream job, whatever
Yeah,
you think is a dream company, because you need to basically build your profile first, be comfortable with your new portfolio and with your new whatever position you're applying for.
Yeah.
test the water a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Apply, get rejected. You
Hmm.
you be with that mindset ki, okay, I'll
Yeah.
be rejected and I'll be fine with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then see, okay, what can I improve with every interview. Try to improve something, right?
Yeah.
I
Right.
think
Right.
in one of my not one of my, I have just one portfolio course there also have mentioned this part, which is
Yeah.
you got to use rejection in your favor, right? Which
Right.
is
Right. Right.
you should strengthen with every rejection. So
Yeah.
that should be the idea. um all right, let's go to the next one.
It's by Rakshit Tanwar.
Yep.
Yes. But in case one needs a mentor, where to go? People who are self-taught designers have worked for say 4 5 years, but when you run into someone who is knowledgeable,
And well
what to
studied,
do?
what to do.
Like I think Rakshit is trying to ask, how do you build connection with someone who's experienced, who would actually give you value, rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
someone who's just out there.
Yeah.
I think Bharat has already made like a pretty good, pretty detailed video on that, how to choose mentors. Uh,
Yeah.
I think there is nothing else I can add on top of that video.
Hmm.
So I would highly suggest Rakshit you reach out to him. Sorry, you watch that video. But to summarize that, I mean, Bharat, you can summarize it. But what I got from it is, if like people who are valuable don't have time to create content, they are too busy working. You have to find out who that person is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when someone is giving you something for free, there is an incentive they are looking for. Just identify what's that incentive,
Yeah.
right? Most people are looking for popularity, and their content reflects that. They will always
Yeah.
make sensational content,
Yeah.
right?
I think doing a bit of background check should be something that everybody should do.
Yeah.
Ki, okay, does he have the credibility to talk about this thing or not?
Yeah.
And even if it sometime is not credibility backed,
Hmm.
you have your own sense of judgment, right? Like,
Gut feeling. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just because somebody's video has got 500K views doesn't mean that you don't have a view about what they are saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You should have a view of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I feel, I mean, try to consume content very separately. I mean, for example, let's say even if I put out a content, right? I mean, even if you would have watched all of my content and you would have built that trust, ki, okay, whatever he says is good.
Hmm.
Still, for that particular piece of content, you should say that, okay, let me just clean up all my biases and just look at this content from a clean lens
More
perspective.
objective point of view.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think I feel the question is somewhere around how do in where do they find mentorship. I feel adp list, topmate, these are some good places where you can find mentors. And one thing I would say that um, it is again the abundance problem, right? It is
Hmm.
very easy for you to get lost in too many people's too many conversations, too
Yeah.
many advices also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You talk to
Definitely.
somebody from Amazon versus
Hmm.
you talk to somebody from Microsoft versus you talk to somebody who is in a hardcore startup.
Hmm.
They would give you very different advices. Somebody
Right.
would
Right.
tell you be process centric, show me blah blah blah. Somebody
Hmm.
would be like, give me the result, right? And
Hmm.
you know where they belong to, right? In which company they work, right?
Right. Right.
So that also happens. uh, and then you have to basically understand which one you need to take. It's
Yep.
almost like, I think in one of my last streams somebody said that um, like whenever you do usability testing or user testing, there are so many opinions about your design that comes up. You
Yeah.
need to pick up what
What to do? What to
what
take? Huh?
what works, right?
Yep.
So I think similarly, you go to adp list, decide who your mentor
Hmm.
should be, even if it is paid or not paid. In topmate also some people are offering mentorship. Try
Yeah.
to get different perspectives and
Yeah.
see if you know you align with whatever their thoughts are. So ideally try to understand the why behind what they are saying. So it's not like they should say, "Arey, I don't like this." Rather, they should say, "I don't like this because blah blah blah." Right?
Yeah.
And you take a note of those because के बाद जो भी points है.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that should be one thing. Um, I don't
Uh,
understand the second half of the question though. People who are self-taught designers have worked for say 4 to 5 years, but when you run into someone who is very knowledgeable and well studied, what to do?
I think that's the point, right? Though he's asking if he runs into someone who's experienced, how do you approach?
No, I think he has a second part to it. They say we don't know anything, and any other course we look at is
Oh,
a beginner course. What to do with such people who are stuck in between? Okay.
uh, and later on, Rakshit has also written down. I double down on Gayatri's comment. Is masters the only way to get out of mid-level
Okay.
designer?
Okay. Then let's go through one by one. I think we
Yeah.
will cover it. Uh oh, this is this is the next question only.
Hmm.
Uh any course we look at is a beginner course. What to do with such people who are stuck in between? No, I think
Oh, acha. Oh, okay.
a lot of people do beginners courses because the amount of people at that level who wants to be 0 to 1 are actually higher.
Higher than, yeah.
That's why we
Yeah.
create beginner courses.
That is why my content is not focused on that. So if I
Hmm.
don't know,
I've
uh,
seen your information architecture.
yeah,
I think that's a in-depth one.
yeah. So you go to my channel. Like I am only creating beginner level stuff because that gives me reach.
Yeah.
So people can discover me and watch my actual good content.
Yeah.
Uh, there is a series I'm doing which is called the Founding Designer series.
Hmm.
The only reason I'm doing this is because no one will tell you what it's like to work at a startup. What does a designer at a startup goes through,
Hmm.
right? So no one will talk about that stuff. Uh, that's why I'm doing it, and it is true. That's a market gap that I've identified,
Hmm.
uh, and fortunately, I can bring some value there. So
Yeah. 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 I think we always get those kind of markets, right? This is a high TAM, low ticket market,
yeah,
the beginner one,
beginner
because
one, yeah, yeah,
yeah, because there are like a lot of people, but they don't have a lot of money to
money,
spend it.
yeah,
But then yours is more of a experienced people who can spend a bit more money
spend
to.
money. But वहाँ पे value you have to
You have to
give
provide. Yeah.
because they're smart people.
Yeah.
They also know the tricks of
Yeah.
UX, so they won't fall into 2999 को cut करके have written 1199 3 days left. They will know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Would you like to take this next one?
What's it? You mentioned about analyzing our work. How exactly one should approach this? Then currently I have 2 years, but how should I evaluate my work? Uh, yeah, there is. I see. I would just. There are two parts to it. Aditi, I guess. Aditi is the one who asked it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Adit or Aditi? Aditi, right?
Aditi.
Yeah, Aditi. So there are two parts to it, right? Subconsciously, you know if you are doing good work or not, right? Everyone knows, right? You just have to ask yourself and answer honestly whether the work you are doing is the best quality work you can produce with the skills that you have right now, right? If that answer is yes, right, first part is over. Second part comes to what other people in your experience range in your domain are doing, what quality of work they are producing, right? And the only way to find that out is, let's say you are someone, for an example, right? Let's say you are someone who have joined a Zomato at 2 years of experience, right? Now Zomato's direct competitor is Swiggy, right? Ask or figure out what a designer of 2 years of experience at Swiggy is doing and just compare, right? That's easiest way, right? And then forget Swiggy and just look at some other industry. Let's say fintech. What does a guy in fintech or a girl in fintech with 2 years of experience, what quality of work are they producing, right? And people are happy to show their work in early stages.
Hmm.
It's people are more insecure when they rise above the ranks because there's a perception that's attached to your work,
Yeah. No,
right?
I think everybody is insecure about their work.
मतलब मैं
Even
तो तुम्हें दिखा दूंगा यार मेरी फिग्मा फाइल, मेरे को कुछ डर नहीं है ऐसा. But हाँ, I agree. I
yeah.
agree. Me and my friends were, that's a separate topic, but I and my friends were talking about this thing, right?
Hmm.
There is this Jenil. Jenil is doing a series called Sneak Peek,
Hmm.
and designers from West are showing their Figma files. I would say if I ask someone today, uh, भैया अपनी Figma file दिखाओ, they're like, oh no. So the first thing that will come out of their mouth is, oh, it's confidential. They won't even think about saying it. But
Yeah.
हाँ, that's a separate topic. We can actually
Yeah.
have a detailed live just for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll also try to take a stab at it.
Sure.
How exactly should one approach this? I have 2 years experience, but should I evaluate how should I evaluate my work? Yeah, I think first thing is not all of your work that you do in a company are going to be portfolio worthy. So
Yep.
that is something that again I have talked in my course. I don't want to plug all the time the course, but then that's one place where I have like gathered all my thoughts there
Yeah.
around portfolio. But the idea was that not everything is going to be portfolio worthy,
Hmm.
right? Whenever you find a project that is portfolio worthy, right, double down on it. Like don't think about all your work life balance and shit like that, right? Like,
Hmm.
not for that particular project. For
Yeah.
every other project, work life balance great, right?
Yeah.
But if you find that one diamond project, right, which you feel like, okay, I'm doing some 0 to 1 project or things like that, right? I mean, jump onto that project, give your best, whatever your 100% is, try to give that.
Hmm.
And understand that that is going to be part of your portfolio. And in your portfolio as a senior, most of the time you just need one good project, right?
Yep.
If you have that one good project from your company, then you should totally double down all your strength, right? So that is one part. The other
Hmm.
part is, I forgot talking about it in the mentor wala part. When you're going to a mentor, also take your best project and be prepared with your script and whatnot, right? Don't go like, okay, random as half-ass portfolio showing 5 projects and blah blah. They can't give you pinpoint answers because they also would have like 45 minutes, 1 hour to give you.
Hmm.
And if you are not very concise about explaining your project, then you are, first of all, out of that 45 minutes, you would be wasting 40 minutes showing your work in a non-concise way, and then
Hmm.
5 minutes you would be getting your download from them.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that kind of a session. Like, their time is valuable and so is yours.
Yeah.
So make sure that whenever you're going to the mentor, you have your portfolio worthy project and you have your practice done, and
Hmm.
you just present it. Or if possible, do a video and send them 20 minutes ka recording and send them, right? Don't waste a single time on that kind of a call where you are wasting any single time. So that
Yeah.
is one
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
One final point is, uh, I have not applied this so far, but I feel this is a good strategy, and
Hmm.
it is for you to actually decide whether it's a good strategy or not. Because again, like every mentor would have their own strategy, right? So one
Hmm.
of my strategy is, uh, try to keep a note of where you got rejected from, right? For example, let's say I got rejected from Swiggy. Okay,
Hmm.
I was applying for lead designer role.
Hmm.
Okay, I got, let's say, rejected. Keep a track of who got selected at
Hmm.
Swiggy, right? And try to get, if possible, try to see what kind of work they have done, what is
Yeah.
their past, and
Yeah.
so on, right? In that way, you would realize that, okay, am I at that level and I just got unlucky, or actually I'm not at that level, right? Because you would not know what they are looking for, what kind of level they are looking for,
Yeah.
unless you see whom they hired, right? So I feel that is one strategy, which is you keep looking at who gets hired from the company that you got rejected by,
Yeah.
right? So I feel you can use that technique as well. Let's
Yeah. Yeah.
go to the next one.
Next comment.
um, what is this?
Uh.
Takes that expertise, and the expectation is people want them to be well versed with knowledge people get from maybe a master's in HCI. Or have I missed something? Yeah.
No, I think it's a conversation that's happening in the chat, but there
Oh,
are
okay.
some random messages in between.
Acha. Mast is okay. Let's address this. Master is the only way out of mid-level designers. Not at all. I mean,
I
I
don't
know
know.
so many people who have like hired me and
Hmm.
they have not done their masters. They have not done anything related to design
Yeah.
as education. So definitely that's not the case. There
Look, this
are,
is this is not a this is not that classical thing, right? Where people do MBA and they
yeah,
become managers.
yeah,
If you anytime you're going to apply for a job after a break, you'll be looked at as a fresher. The best one can happen is if you do a master's, they will probably give you an interview. That's
Mm.
the best that can happen. Fun fact: in 2017, I I almost filled the form of all the like
NID,
NID, NID,
IIT.
triple IT, every single design form I filled. Uh, but the only thing that I did, NID specifically, I remember, the only thing I did not do was make the payment, right? And I asked my mentor back then that should I do masters or not, and he asked me how long have you been doing design. I was like, it's been like 2.5 years. I'm doing this. It's like, what are you looking out of masters? I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's masters, right? Uh, so would it teach me something I already don't know? Would it help me give a perspective? I use the word unlearn because that's something that's the word I learned then, right? I want to
Yeah,
unlearn. And he was like, dude, see, if you want to do it, you have time, money, resources, by all means go do it.
yeah.
But based on my evaluation and working with you for 1.5 year, I don't think that's going to add value. The best
Mm.
it can do is help you articulate a little better. And I don't think that cost that you're going to pay and the time that you're going to spend would justify the
Mm.
skill, the articulation skill that you're going to achieve.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually hard to evaluate what you're going to get out of masters and
Yeah.
is it worth it or not,
Yeah.
because you can never do a A/B testing of your life choices,
Right.
right? You
Right.
have to
Right.
pick a choice, move with it. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
never say, "Oh, if I would have done that." Arey, you don't know, right? Come on.
Mm,
You would like even between companies, right? You can choose
yeah.
between companies, and your life is going to be completely different because you are part of a certain company, right?
Yeah.
Not just even masters. So yeah, I mean, it's very unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing is that yeah, definitely master is not the only way. I know just way too many people who have not done masters and have just like done extremely well in their UX
Mm,
career.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, there is one more question. How's the job market for experienced guy? How much experience? That's like important. Like we have whatever like uh, I because did my master, so I have about 6-7 years of experience. Manav has been in the industry for 9 years,
Mm,
so we can probably talk about the senior to lead level part, right?
yeah. That's not beyond that. No beyond that.
Yeah. So what
I have
has been your experience?
examples about above than that. One I just shared.
Huh.
The head
But
of.
what has been your experience in the current market? So are you applying for lead roles or is it senior roles?
So far I've stopped, but I was applying for exclusively lead roles.
I see.
So title apart,
Hmm.
I was looking for a role where I would still work as a individual contributor,
Hmm.
right? But also manage and mentor some designers
I
with
see.
me and probably lead a business function because
I
that
see.
was my role at Ticketay. So I was leading the design for their core business product, which they call investment transaction uh, tracking. Uh, Two amazing designers were working with me, Sagar and Sunal. Uh, I forgot where Sunal joined, but Sagar is at Urban Company right now.
I see.
Sunal, I forgot. I saw his LinkedIn post. He recently updated, but he's also like two amazing designers. Like, go look at their portfolio. You will be blown away by the
Hmm.
quality of work.
But what has
that they-
been your experience like
Sorry,
recently?
to come back.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
Sorry. I
वही
diverged.
9:30 को लेटिन स्टार्ट होगा
हाँ, so I diverge. See the job market for an experienced guy. I don't know what does Akhtar Ali wants to know from this. In terms of opportunities, they are there. They are amazing. Uh, and in terms of candidates, they are less. So that's exactly what I told about the head of design guy,
hmm.
right? In senior designers, there are slightly more choices, right? But in lead roles, the people who are hiring, they have told me that there are not good enough candidates.
Yeah.
uh, because you need to be a individual contributor. I mean, you need to design also and manage.
Hmm.
That's a very difficult job to do,
Right.
right? And also kind of lead into product strategy as well.
Hmm.
What products to build. So that's like a
Right.
very heavy role.
Yeah.
uh, So opportunities are there. Seniors I also see. There is a some in some companies there is a overlap between big companies called lead designer as senior level, just because the hierarchy they have. Uh, you have also joined at Tide recently, right,
Right.
as a lead
Yeah.
designer.
Yeah.
You tell me, you what's your experience like the last
So
after GT?
um I might have a bit biased experience because
Okay.
I feel, because of all these tags that I have in my resume, right, which is
Mhm.
NID, Zeta, blah blah, right, all
Mhm.
of that, NIT engineering and all of that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
that because of that, my resume gets through a lot of places I apply for, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not very sure if that is the case all the time with everybody, right? I mean, I know my privileges, right? So
Yeah.
that's that's why I find that okay, I'm aware of that privilege that I have in my
Yeah,
resume, right?
yeah, yeah.
So definitely that is there. Another privilege that I have is um, I have gone through a lot of referrals. Like I'm
Oh,
very what
aggressive.
I say, very glad that so many people still remember that I'm their friend because I have not been in contact with a lot of people. They just
Yeah, yeah.
remember me from the content or something like that. And I've
Uh-huh.
reached out to a lot of my friends where there have been openings, be it Adobe, Microsoft, blah blah blah. In fact, next week I want to bring in somebody who had referred me in Microsoft and is currently at Microsoft.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's full of gratitude, right? So many people have been helping me
Yeah,
refer in multiple places. That has happened, and I feel for senior role there were enough openings for me, at least, right? I felt
yeah,
like
that's one.
there were
Yeah.
at least 100 openings for senior in that span of 1 month when I was applying for. And I was
Yeah,
again not restricted to geography, by the way.
yeah.
Like I was looking for Singapore, UK,
Oh,
um,
acha, beyond India.
European and US as well.
Yeah.
So I felt opportunities were there again, but then that doesn't mean that every company that I apply for I get
Selected.
through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
uh, it didn't happen. I think maybe 4 5 offers was something that I was pretty much closing at,
Mhm.
but then I would have probably applied for 100 companies. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that happens.
probably 70% of them are through referrals, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
So
nice, nice.
that's like
Referrals are good. Yeah.
that's like crazy number of application in that 1 month. But then
Yeah.
that's the advantage of leaving your job completely, right?
Yeah.
And then also not making content,
Yeah.
or at least having the ethics of creating content. Because the moment I stop creating content, I
Hmm.
get around extra 40 hours of my life
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
week. So,
Right, right.
so that also was there. So I was totally focused on job, and then there was support from everybody,
Mhm.
which is why I could apply so much, and then had some good conversion,
Yeah.
mainly because of constantly improving the portfolio rounds, constantly becoming a better communicator and so on.
Right,
So
right, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have very less time. I think we would not be able to take more questions, but I would like to have this one question for you, Manav. You mentioned that right now you are not looking for jobs, and
Mhm.
also just before this call you were mentioning that you want to get full time into content, right?
Mhm.
At least try it for some time. So what is your thought behind it? What was your strategy? uh, why quit UX design to become content creator?
So I did not quit more. I would not say I quit my company. It was more of a burnout that
I
happened,
see.
and I wanted to take some break. I've been working for last 9 years, and I felt that I need to hit pause and kind of maybe try something I want to do, right? And content creation in about design was something that I wanted to do, uh, and I already had some signals that the content I'm producing is
Yeah.
working because I did it from 2019 to
You had the
2021.
product market fit.
I kind of find the product market fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, okay, if I make even better content, would uh, that would be a viable thing that to do, right? Uh, I still don't know how I'm gonna monetize it, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm clear that I want to target people who are experienced because content about them will also help people who are not experienced. Because
Hmm.
if I can use a technique of a boxer, of let's say some experienced boxer, and I'm new to boxing, I can still leverage that, at least
Yeah.
start practicing that. So That's my ideology. I want to try it, and I'm doing it. So until December, I've put my mind that I will not actively apply to a job or work on my improving my portfolio, which needs a lot of improvement. Trust me. Uh, and after I set a goal in my mind, which I'm pretty sure will I'll not be able to achieve unless I create some content that goes extremely viral and I get a surge of followers or views.
Yeah.
That goal is not going to happen. So until December, I'm just focusing on creating content that I can publish later on, and then in January I'll probably start working on my portfolio again, and I'm going to do it in public. So
Yeah. Um, that's pretty interesting, man. I think we have also shared your YouTube channel link.
thanks,
So
man.
anybody who has joined in, they can also check out Manav's content. Especially, I would suggest if you're struggling with information architecture and you want to go like deep dive, Manav has an entire series on IA. So I think you should definitely check it out. And also, I think recently you have also started doing podcasts, right? I think, uh,
Yeah, two of them I've released.
yeah,
Two more is gonna come. There is another video lined up on, I think, 2 days later.
nice. So
So,
yeah, so you are now full time into content creation. We need more people like you in
and
this space for sure. And for all the people who are still on this call, please like, share, subscribe. Whatever you
please,
have not done, please do it. Don't click on the like button twice. Don't click on the subscribe button twice. So yeah, just
comment तो कर दो यार सारे फटाफट. Let's put a comment, right? Let's put like a thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever, however you like the conversation.
yeah, 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 yeah. Please let us know how the conversation was. And yeah, I think with this we can actually pause our conversation. Maybe next time we'll bring in some other topic and we will have a discussion, maybe on your channel.
Uh,
Right? So we can do all of that.
yeah.
But I mean, thank you so much for joining in and being a part of this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Uh,
Yep.
bye bye. Good night.
All right, thank you. All right, chalo, we have a few minutes. I cannot really answer all these chats right now, but have your questions listed. Probably I'll do a Q&A sometime. Next week we are bringing in Anudish Kaushal from Microsoft, and again he was my friend at NID, and it's going to be a lot of wild conversations. So I'm pretty sure next week you guys are going to also enjoy the live. I'm pretty sure this was a valuable lesson, and if it is so, then please write down in the comment whether it was good or not. And I'll see you in the next stream. So thank you for joining in. Like, share, subscribe. Bye bye.